Hello everyone, my name is Mohammed Radwan. I'm a Visual Studio ALM MVP and DevOps practice lead. In this video, we are going to see how to run Jasmine JavaScript unit testing from command line using Grunt. So we will see how to install Grunt as a CLI or command line interface. We will see how to install Grunt locally on the project and then installing the npm or node package manager for different library including the Jasmine which needed the PhantomJS to run the uh, headless browser testing, unit testing. So we will see all of that and how to run that from the command line so we can prepare for the build automation at the end of this series. So let's see that. We saw in the previous video how to run the unit test with Jasmine using the standalone version, but this is usually not the way that we are going to do or to run our unit test. So what is the usually way for doing that is using task runner, and an example of that is using Grunt or Gulp. So let me show you that. This is Grunt, it's just a JavaScript task runner, and this is Gulp. Both of them is a task runner, which is both of them are really great, and I will focus on my video on Grunt now, and later I will create some videos about Gulp as well. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. I think the best option is to start putting our source code on the on Git on VSTS, so we can using running the build later with all of that. So I'm going to create a new project called front end. Of course, Git and using Scrum. So once I have that, I will check in my code. By the way, I don't need the standalone version to run a Grunt task runner, but I can keep the standalone version here in case I would like to run the test as a standalone, but I don't need it for running for Grunt. So now I have my project. So let's connect that project here. The best option is I will come here and copy this and close the solution, then connect to my Team Explorer. Connect the created project right now. This is my project and this is my repo. I will clone this repo in this default location. That's fine. I don't need this. So, and this is where my project will be. So I will paste that the web solution that I copied here. So I have here my web solutions. Okay, so if we go for a change, we can see all the changes here. Of course, this is for my settings. Of course, I have the user settings here. So the first step is to add get ignore. So let me go here for settings and repo settings and add get ignore file. So this will fix all the files that's not needed. So as we can see, this is my files. We can also maybe changing the standalone to be inside Jasmine standalone. I think it's better to do that. So if I take the spec runner and the library and I create folder called Jasmine standalone, and here, because it's reference this the script and the test to still running. Of course, if I run that, it will not run anymore. So I need to edit that to keep that working. So this would be just need to be adjusted. The same for here. Let's save that. And it succeeded, so it's working. Now I get back here to my source code where I change that, and I will just put first commit stage. Commit the project. So now I have committed all, then I will sync that with my project, so everything will be on the source control. Of course, I don't have anything on the source control on the remote repo, so I will just push my. If I get back here to my created project and go for the code, then I can see that I added now this project, which including the standalone version of Jasmine. Okay, all of that is not needed for running Jasmine with task runner, but just so we can understand how things is going on. So to run that, I'm going to run that from the command line. This is the first, and this is the video for running Jasmine unit test from command line using Grunt. So how I'm going to do that? So first we need to understand that Grunt is an NPM library. It's using CLI at the end, so it's command line interface, and everything in Grunt is like an extension or a plugin for Grunt. This is why I need npm to install all other. Grunt is not an npm. Grunt is a CLI, command line interface, but it uses the npm libraries, which is plugins that run that tasks. So the first is to make sure that I have the npm on my machine, and in order to have npm I need the Node.js first. So let's do that. How can I check that? If I open the command line, if I write npm, nothing is recognized. Let me also open the Visual Studio command line tool. Okay, it's not appear. Let me here. So it's not. So the first step is by installing the Node.js. So I will just go for Node.js, download the latest one. Then Click next, next, next. I must make sure that npm package manager is going to be installed. Then click finish. Let's run the command line now. So we can see now I have the npm. So now I'm ready to install any library. So as the npm is working now, then I'm going to install Grunt as a global. So if we go from Grunt and click Get Start, we can see here how we can install the CLI or command line interface. And this will install Grunt globally on the machine. So clicking this will install the npm, the Grunt CLI. Now I have the Grunt CLI. Let's start Grunt on the project. So I will go for my project in the repos. Where is my project, and write cmd from here. So I don't need this one now. I will just minimize. And in this one, this is why I make it. So as we can see, if we go for the changes, I don't have any change. I don't have any file. Then I will start creating npm initialize. So this will create an initialized version of pacakges.json, which is the configuration file about which library or npm library are installed. So every time I install or download a library, it will be added to this configuration file. And of course, in many cases, some libraries depends on other libraries, which will be added the dependencies as well. So in this file, we can see that it has the main setting. So it starts by the name of the file, then the number of the version. If I want to add any description, then here is the entry point. So I will take the default. It's not important. I can put my name, license, that's fine. And then this is okay, yes. So this, as we can see, this is creates a package.json, a default package.json. Now I need to install Grunt in the project. So in the same, again, on the project directory, I will install npm install Grunt and save dev. So this will install Grunt locally on the project. And of course, this will change in the package.json. So it changes this file. So now I installed that. It's also, of course, this is a change, so I will load it. So here is the dependencies of the div. It requires Grunt. Node modules. This is what installed. By default, this is not under source control, because if we look at the git ignore, so we can see that node modules is ignored, and I would like to include that here. So I have two options, is by using add with force, or by removing that from the git ignore if I want to put my library as a part of my source code. Why I want that? So I can run the build without restoring this library. I can have different options. I can use getting in this folder, So navigating to cd node modules, and then I click git add dot and force. If I did that, this will add all the files. Let's see that. So this will enforce to add this file even if it is in the git ignore. This could be a solution if I don't want to remove that from the git ignore. But usually, because I'm going to use all the library and I would like that, so I will not use this force, but this is in case I want to force that with git. So let's installing all the library, and then I will undo all of that. Of course not close. So if I get back here, looking at the change, I will have all of that. So all the, we can see all the node modules here. I will unstage. Okay, then getting back to here and remove it from the git ignore, which is equivalent, but I don't need to run this command every time. Save git ignore. So now I have the same, but including node modules. So I will say commit node modules. Again, this is for the build automation, nothing more. So now I commit the node modules. Again, this is a local commit. And now I have the package.json file. So the next step is to write the configuration and installing the Jasmine library to run that. So now I have Grunt on the project. I have the dependencies, and I need to install first the Jasmine Grunt library so I can run the test and set the configuration. So let's do that. So, and this will happen by, if I came here and say grunt contrib-jasmine, as we can see here, npm. So this is the node package manager for that, which use PhantomJS headless browser. Then I will just take, let's see again, there's no changes here. I don't need that now. If I came here, let's clean that. Now I'm going to install, let's go for change, git contrib-jasmine. Let me get out of that to be on the project folder. What I have now more, yes, I have, as we can see, all this library, which is usually dependencies for the contrib-jasmine. Grunt contrib-jasmine. This is the main library I'm going to use for running the unit test. Okay. Another one very important dependency is the PhantomJS. So if we look at PhantomJS, let's look at the PhantomJS. So if we look here at the library Phantom, PhantomJS, this is application, this is an exe, and I need that as a part of what I'm going to add. So what I want to make sure that it's included in my source control. So let me look at that. So here, this is a phantom example, but as we can see, it doesn't include the exe as well. Of course, it's better to restore this library on the server, but if I want to put them under source control. So the best option again is to go to cd node modules and again click git add dot force, which would install everything not installed, and here we will see the phantom exe as part of that as well. So this is the way that I make sure that I installed everything here. Of course, I can uninstall only what needed. Let's go for PhantomJS now. If I go here, I have the Phantom exe now here, so I make sure that I have everything to run on the VSTS build. Okay, commit node modules missing files. PhantomJS exe. So now I added all the Jasmine contrib. Commit that, so okay, so we don't have any changes. So now I have the Jasmine contrib. What I need is just the configuration, like where is my test and where is the code under test and all of that inside the grunt file. So how first to create the grunt configuration file and then editing that to run the Jasmine. I will start by adding a new file to the project, which is on the project level, new item, JavaScript file, and I will name it Grunt file. Of course, it will be .js by default because I select .js. And now I put my default configuration, which is in this way. This is what is the tasks I want to run with Grunt. So as we can see here, I put the name of the plugin. Of course, I can name it anything because at the end this is the loading here. This is loading the plugin, but here is the name. So I name it here as I want. Here, this is the task inside the Jasmine. So you can think like inside Jasmine, I have many tasks. So I can say task 1 or different tasks. So here, the G is the source of the test inside scripts. So I will put it here inside scripts. This is code under test. And the spec under tests. Yes, so that's right. So here I have that. I don't need the JS hint now. And then here, this will load the npm tasks grunt contrib Jasmine. This is a very important one. So now I have that here. Now I can run that. So how to run that? All I just need to open that in Team Explorer, run here in CMD, and if I run grunt, as we can see, yes, grunt working, but because I didn't send any input, so grunt, and what I will write the name of the task, which is Jasmine. So this should run all the tasks using the PhantomJS. So as we can see, this will start running the task. Should the function run with no error and everything run successfully. It's run. Let's change the code to make the test fail by changing here anything. Run the test again. As we can see, running Jasmine task 1, because by default show the function run with no error, not found, exception. So as we can see, one spec is running and one spec is failure. So let's fix that. So now as we can see here that I can run the Jasmine unit test using the grunt, using the command line with the task runner grunt by this configuration, which is grunt files. I just put it here, this configuration, and then from the command line start running the grunt. At the end, I would like to thank you for watching this video. Please, if you have any question or you would like to know anything, don't hesitate to contact me on my blog mohammedradwan.com. You can also click on the links that will appear on the screen, which is including the DevOps guide, which is published on the TechNet. This guide includes basic principles about DevOps for people that want to get more familiar about the high level of DevOps. You can also click on the related video, which is usually could adding more information for the current video, which is appear now on the screen. Thank you.